Welcome back, everyone. I know it's been a week or so, but unfortunately, some unexpected things came up that actually it's not even that I've been lazy. I have not been driving, so that is the reason for the lack of new episodes. But anyway, we don't need to get into any of that. Once again, thank you for welcome back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for spreading the word. Hope everyone is enjoying this. My perspectives, my tiny rants slash vents, and just listening. So thanks again. If you have any feedback, please send it to third. Why do I keep doing that? I'm about to have to change the name of the podcast because I'm about to divulge private information every single time I'm giving you the email address. I'm about to give you my home address. Thinking driving at gmail.com. Okay, not my home address. Thinking driving at gmail.com. So, what do we have today? Today, I would like to give you my thoughts on drugs and drug legalization. So, what do I think about that? Well, there's a lot involved, really. One is, I'm obviously not a medical expert. I'm not a healthcare expert. I don't treat, what do you call that? You know what I'm saying. Listen. Sometimes I run out of the right word, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know how to treat those things, okay? But anyway, so that's my disclaimer. That being said, I think it's pretty. There are some things that are pretty obvious, such as that the facts that there are certain drugs. Now, please, again, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am not promoting any type of drug use, okay? That's not what I'm doing in any way. But I think it's pretty obvious there are certain drugs that are worse than others, right? And the obvious one all the time is that, marijuana or weed is basically the least, I guess, if you want to call it the least destructive in a way. But I will say that it is destructive in a way. We'll get that we'll get to that later. So anyway, then there's other, actually, obvious ones that are very, very, more destructive. Let's put it that way, because they're more addictive or they cause more harm. Like when you I guess, quote unquote, move up to like cocaine or crack or heroin. So those are the ones. That being said, and I know I'm going all around, but I'll come back to all these points. That being said, in my opinion, there's nothing worse than legal drugs like opioids, okay? For the simple fact that excuse me, not for any reason other than, not for any reason like oh, they're addictive, or they cause a lot of damage, or it's hard to wean off of them. Not for anything like that. Honestly, it's for the simple fact that they're legal, right? They compare, they compare legal and illegal drugs, and they're both causing the same harm physically or mentally. However, it is probably easier, to not worry about getting a legal drug, right? And I know it's sold in the black market and all that, But anyway, here's my point. All drugs should be legalized. It doesn't matter what they are, okay? All drugs, people should be able to make decisions for themselves, okay? Without getting in trouble, because tell me the difference between, let's say I was, a heroin addict. What is the difference? I'm going to get it anyway, right? Whether it's legal or illegal, I'm an addict that's going to go get it, no matter what, okay? I'm going to, assuming it's a worst case scenario, I'm going to take my kids, things and sell them so I can get the drugs, assuming that, I even have a place to live and my kids are still with me, So it's just, I think all drugs should be legalized and be treated as like medical conditions, health, it should be a health issue. It should not be a legal or illegal thing. There should not be people in jail for using or selling drugs, okay? And yes, I know this is a sensitive topic because, somebody's child may have overdosed because a drug dealer sold it to them, okay? But that's the point right there, okay? Like I don't know off the top of my head what countries, but there are countries overseas that have clinics, okay? So drug addicts can come into these clinics and I guess if you want to call it supervised, they're given whatever the right dosage is to do it in a controlled environment, right? So if they overdose or something like that, there is somebody there to take care of them. Now that being said, I have to assume that these places are in place so that they can be monitored and controlled. My point being is that let's just say me, Giusolino, I have a file at, whatever, Drug Addicts Anonymous over here, and I go every week or every day, whatever the case may be, to get my dose, and let's just assume, right? I don't know anything about the drug world in that sense. Okay, so let's be clear about that. But let's just assume that, that I'm given a gram of whatever it is when I go to, Drug Addicts Anonymous over here. I have to assume that they're keeping a file, and then next time I go, they're gonna give me 0.99, right? And then 0.98. And the point is that I have to assume that the point of it is to the right word is not fix, but to kind of help resolve the drug addict's problem, right? So I have to assume that eventually the dosage just gets low enough, and that's how they kind of get them off of drugs. Again, those are only assumptions. But if my assumptions are incorrect, then somebody needs to change something and do that, because it makes sense to me in my head. If you don't think it makes sense, thinkingdriving@gmail.com. Let me know. But anyway, my point really is that I have never, I am one of those individuals that feels that people should not be in jail for non-violent crimes, okay? So what that means is that if I shouldn't get caught with a, I don't know what the legal limit is in a lot of states. And I know a lot of states have decriminalized it, that's fine. But let's just say back in the days, those people that that went to jail or are in jail, let's say, I got caught with 2 bags of $20 of weed, right? 2 bags, and that's illegal. So then I gotta go to jail for whatever, for spend the weekend, or whatever, I don't know, whatever the sentencing is in that state, for a month, whatever the sentence is. I don't understand how that makes any sense to anybody. I wanted to, first of all, it's not a law, okay? Second of all, I should have the choice of enjoying whatever I want to enjoy. And yes, I am going to bring up the comparison to alcohol, okay? There's plenty of people out here drinking and driving, okay? Just like I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people out here under the influence, like meaning smoking or something like that, or some other drugs, and driving. Okay, so I don't care what anybody tells me. It is comparable. The two things. The point is that no matter what it is that you're doing, you're under some type of influence, and you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, right? And you know what? I know people that smoke so much that it doesn't even, I mean, they tell me they don't get high. I don't know what that means. I don't know, because the reality of it is that I'm not really sure why somebody would keep doing something if it doesn't give them that pleasure of that they're looking for, right? That in this case they're not getting high, right? And again, I'm strictly speaking about marijuana. But anyway, and the other thing is that they say that marijuana is a gateway drug. Like, what does that even mean? Because again, in my example that I just gave before, I know people, and I mean more than one, that say that they don't get high off of marijuana anymore, but they're not going after anything else. They're okay, right? So, unfortunately, I have to say something that is gonna be a little bit insensitive, but it's really not about the drugs, right? It's not about the weed, it's not about the cocaine, it's not about the opioids, it's not about the alcohol, it's not about that. It's the person, okay? The person has a problem in the sense of, they are vulnerable. They have some type of weakness, which again, I don't know about this. I'm not a medical doctor, but my point is that there's something within their system, within their head, within whatever, that is causing them to want to basically leave their reality, right? They want to have some type of altered reality. They don't want, it could be anything. It could be stress, it could be anxiety, it could be, they're stressing over paying the bills. It could be that somebody passed away that was close to them. It could be many things. My point is that I truly feel that the drug or the thing itself, it's not the actual issue. That's what they go to get that relief. Okay? It's a mental health issue. That's the word that I was looking for before. I don't mean to laugh. It just hit me right now. That is the word that I was looking for before. It's a mental health issue. Okay? And that's how it should be treated. It should be treated as a mental health issue. It should be covered by your insurance. It should be. It shouldn't be this difficult for people to get help when it comes to drugs and alcoholism and legal drugs, illegal drugs, doesn't matter. Like, which is a whole nother episode about insurance companies, but it should just be, we already pay so much for insurance, and we don't really, there's an argument for it, but we don't really get much out of our insurance, because the reality of it is that, I know it's great when you get sick, or I don't know, you need some type of surgery or something sudden happens. So I'm not even arguing that, but specifically my insurance, I'm just wasting my money, if you want to put it that way, because I don't use it, right? I barely use it. That being said, my wife takes full advantage of it. We don't need to get into any details, but and she's not sick or anything, but she takes full advantage of it, and that's fine. When my daughter was born, she had a lot of medical issues in regards to asthma, and we definitely used it a lot. But the point is that, my point really is that for what we pay, we don't really use it to the extent that it's worth, if that makes any sense. Because everything that I'm referring to right now about my wife and my kids or whatever, it's just normal doctor visits, co-pays and And that's the other thing. I pay, you know, hundreds of dollars a month, and then I still have to pay co-pays when I go to the doctor. But that's not what this episode's about. So let's bring it back to drug legalization. Why not just legalize drugs, make it a mental health issue, and gladly pay the co-pay to go see a specialist, a healthcare, a medical person, to be able to help you with your drug issues. Okay, and that's pretty much my thoughts on drugs, legalizing, not putting people in jail. By the way, that includes drug dealers. I know that's controversial. Let me just speak a little bit about that before I go. Actually, yes, I don't. Here's the reason why I'm stuttering. I don't feel that drug dealers should be in jail because they're not technically right. They're selling the drug. It's a non-violent thing. Now, I do agree that the drug trade, which is another reason to legalize it, is a problem, and there is definitely a lot of violence on the back end because, fighting for a block or something, a corner, or, fighting to see who's going to get the drugs into the United States and things like that. So I get it. There's a lot of crime involved in that. There's a lot of murders. There's a lot of bad things involved. That's not what I'm talking about. And as a matter of fact, even sometimes a drug dealer himself or herself may have to cause some type of violence, to protect his or her product. I understand that. Again, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the act of actually selling the narcotic, the drug, the weed, the coke, the whatever, okay? That's what I'm referring to. So anyway, legalize all drugs, make it a mental health issue, put everybody in clinics, clean them up, because that's the goal, to clean people up. Whether I support the legalization or not, my goal really is to clean people up, because again, they're doing this for other reasons, not because, maybe there are some that enjoy the high, that's fine. But I think the majority of people are doing it to escape reality. Anyway, thank you for listening. I did it again. thinkingdriving@gmail.com. Please like, please share, please spread the word. Thank you.